All right, today we have completing the square. We have 4 examples to do, and we are given the formula to complete the square of y equals x plus b divided by 2 parentheses squared plus c minus parentheses b divided by 2 squared. So let's say you're given your function as y equals ax squared plus b x, sorry about that, plus your constant c. You're given that. This will pretty much correlate to your function in this polynomial form. So let's go on and do number 1. Number 1 states x squared plus 4x minus 32 equals 0. So we're going to have to solve for this by completing the square. I forgot to say solve, but we're going to solve. So let's go ahead and do this. So our x is going to be obviously x, and our b is going to be 4 squared plus c. Our c is going to be negative 32 minus b divided by 2 squared. So let's go ahead and do this right now. We have x plus, sorry about that. So we have x plus b divided by 2. What's b? Our b is going to be 4, right? 4 divided by 2 is 2. So x plus 2 squared plus c, our c is negative 32 minus b divided by 2 squared. B again is 4, divided by 2 is 2, squared is 4, right? We have b, 4 divided by 2 is equal to 2. You square that and you get 4. Yeah, you square that. You get 4. So now you're left with this form. We have x plus 2 squared minus 32 minus 4 is, negative 32 minus 4 is negative 36. So now we can go ahead and solve. By the way, this equals to 0. 0. So now we can go ahead and solve by moving this to this side right here, and we can do that by adding 36 to both sides. Now we're left with, let's go here, x plus 2 squared is equal to 36. And now we can go ahead and take the square root of both sides. So now we're left with x plus 2 is equal to plus or minus 6. So now we can go ahead and take away 2 from both sides. Now we're left with x is equal to negative 2 plus or minus 6. All right, so this means that x is equal to negative 2 minus 6 and x is equal to negative 2 plus 6. So this means this equals to negative 8 and this equals to 4. So x is equal to negative 8 and 4, right? X is equal to, hold on a second, let me check my answer. X is equal to negative 8 and 4. So my answer seems to be correct. Let me go ahead and check real quick. Yep. So that is how you complete the square for number 1. Let's go ahead and do number 2. Number 2 states x squared minus 2x minus 3 is equal to 0. So let's go ahead and apply the formula that we learned here. Our x is going to be x minus, plus b divided by 2. What's our b? Our b is negative 2. Negative 2 divided by 2, negative 2. Yeah, negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1, right? Plus negative 1 squared. Plus our constant, plus negative 3 minus, again, b divided by 2. b, negative 2 divided by 2, negative 1. Negative 1 squared. So now let's go ahead and simplify this a little bit more. We're left with x minus 1, all right? Minus 1 squared, right? Minus 3 forget the plus sign, minus 3. I just put it just to show you how to plug in the numbers, but you can just skip to this step if you want. Minus 3 minus, let's see, negative 1 squared is 1. So it's going to be minus 1, right? So now we're left with, by the way, is equals 0, by the way. So now we're left with, again, is x minus 1 squared minus 4 is equal to 0. Now we can go ahead and solve. We're just combining like terms here. So now it's x minus 1 squared is equal to, add 4 to both sides, you get 4. So now after that, we can go ahead and take the square root of both sides. And let's go here. This gives us x minus 1 is equal to plus or minus 2. And now we can add 1 to both sides to leave x by itself. We're left with x is equal to 1 plus or minus 2. This means that x is equal to 1 minus 2 and x is equal to 1 plus 2. And this means that x is equal to 3. 1 minus 2 is negative 1. So x is equal to 3. X is equal to 3, negative 1. Okay, so let's go ahead and do number 3. Number 3 says negative 6 plus 2x minus x squared is equal to 0. So again, we need to, this function is not in this standard polynomial form that we want to use the formula in. So what we should do is rearrange the terms so it can look like this form. So the x negative 2 needs to be in the front. So it's negative x squared plus 2x minus 6 is equal to 0. And now we can go ahead and divide negative 1 from both sides to get rid of the negative in front of the x. So let's go ahead and divide negative 1 from both sides. Negative 1, negative 1. 0 minus negative 1 is going to be 0, so that doesn't matter here. But this divided by negative 1 is negative x squared divided by negative 1 is x positive x squared. This divided by negative 1 is minus 2x. And negative 6 divided by negative 1 is plus 6 is equal to 0. So now we're left with x squared minus 2x plus 6 is equal to 0. Let me see if okay, yeah. So we should be good. So now we can go ahead and apply our formula. You guys already know the formula. We have x. Our b here is negative 2, right? Negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1. So it's plus negative 1 squared, close the parentheses, square it. And again, I'm just showing you how to plug it in. You don't really need to write it like that. Just straight up write the negative 1 if you want. And then plus c plus 6 minus negative 1, negative 2 divided by 2. Negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1. Raise that to the squared power. So that's negative 1 squared. And now we're left with x minus 1 squared plus 6 minus negative 1 raised to the second power is positive 1. So you're basically just subtracting 1. So this again equals to 0. So we have x minus 1 squared plus 5 is equal to 0. So now I can go ahead and solve by subtracting 5 from both sides. So let's go ahead and do that. And now we can write it right here. X minus 1 squared equals to, when you subtract 5 from both sides, this turns to 0 and this turns to negative 5. Negative 5. Now we can go ahead and take the square root of both sides. We're left with x minus 1 is equal to the square root of negative 5. And this, we're not going to go too much into complex numbers, but this is basically equal to, this negative 5 is basically equal to square root of 5i, right? Square root of 5i. So that's just an imaginary number. It's a complex number, but we're not going to go over complex numbers right now. I'm just showing you this. So that's a complex number. Square root of a negative number is going to give you pretty much a complex number. So this equals to x minus 1 is equal to the square root of 5i. And then after that, you just add 1 to both sides. So this gives us x is equal to 1 plus or minus. Wait, did I put? Oh, wait, no. Sorry, I'm supposed to put the plus or minus when we take the root. Okay, so yeah, plus or minus. Just pretend I put the plus or minus. I forgot that, but that's how it is. Just put the plus or minus. So x plus or minus root 5i. Let me check my answer. X equals 1 plus or minus root 5i. Everything seems good. So that is how you do number 3. Let's go on to number 4. We have 9x squared minus 18x plus 3 is equal to 0. So we want basically x squared to have not have the number 9 there. We just want it by a factor of 1 instead of a factor of 9. So let's go ahead and rewrite this. 9x squared minus 18x plus 3 is equal to 0. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna divide all of this by 9, so we can just have the x squared by itself. Divide all of that by 9. When you divide 0 by 9, you're just gonna get 0, so that doesn't matter. So when you divide 9 by 9, you're gonna get 1. So it's just x squared minus 18 divided by 9 is gonna be 2 minus 2x plus 3 divided by 9. You're gonna get 3. Oh, oops, I probably shouldn't have written it there, but you're going to get 3 over 9, which if you simplify this, it's going to be 1/3. All right, so now you have plus 1/3 is equal to 0. So now we can go ahead and apply our formula that we learned here. Again, x plus b divided by 2 plus b divided by 2 is negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1. Negative 1. You square all of that, plus 1/3, our c is 1/3, our constant, minus negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1. You square that, it's equal to 0. And now you can go ahead and write it like this. X, get rid of the positive sign, negative 1 squared, plus negative 1 raised to the second power is positive 1, minus 1, that's going to be a negative 1. So it's going to be 1/3 minus 1 is equal to 0. And now let's go ahead and solve this problem. 1 over 3 minus 1. So let's see how we do this. 1 minus 3 minus 3 over 3, because 1 is basically when you want it to have a common factor, it's 3 over 3. I'm not going to go too much into common factors or fractions right now. So this is how we do it. 1 minus 3, that's negative 2/3 equals to negative 2/3. Okay, so now we have x minus 1 squared. What did we say? Negative 2/3 is equal to 0. So now we can go ahead and add. We can go ahead and add 2/3. Yeah, add 2/3. Oops, 2/3 to both sides. So now we have x minus 1 squared is equal to 2/3. So now we can go ahead and take the square root of both sides. X minus 1 is equal to plus or minus the square root of 2 over 3, right? But this, we can go ahead and, let's go ahead and take this right here, and we can rewrite it as 2 over root 3, right? This is just some algebraic property of the square root or whatever it's called. So now we can go ahead and rationalize the denominator. We're going to go ahead and rationalize. So this is root 3 over root 3. And this times this is 3. That root 2 times root 3, that's root 6. So we can go ahead and write it down like that. When you're in an algebra class, you're going to write you're going to rationalize pretty much every denominator you get. So this is equal to x minus 1 is equal to plus or minus root 6 over 3, taking that here. So now we can go ahead and add 1 to both sides. So now we're left with x is equal to 1 plus or minus root 6 over 3. Now let me go ahead and check my answer, make sure I got that correct. X is equal to 1 plus or minus root 6 over 3. And yeah, that is how you pretty much complete the square. Let's go ahead and box our answer. And yeah, that's it. That's completing the square using our formula.